Let's take a look at what Nearpod looks like from the teacher side as you are running a live lesson. So my students have signed in with the code I gave to them, and I can see right here I have one student, and if I click, I can see which students are there. Down here at the bottom, if I click, I can pull up all of my slides. So if I wish to skip over slides, I can do so. If I wanted to go right to this Let's Get Started slide, I would click on that and then click Share. Takes me right to that slide, and that's what my students see. So if I had wanted to skip this slide, I'd be able to do that easily without having to scroll through a couple slides. So as I go through, some of my interactive slides give me choices as the teacher. So for example, for a Collaborate board, do you want to approve student comments before they're posted? Completely up to you. You might want to do that. You might not. If you say yes, I will show you what that looks like. If you say no, then what will happen is as students put their response, it will just automatically appear up on the screen without you having to do anything. So I'm going to click yes, and now students can go ahead and write their answers. So as a student posts an answer, it's pending approval, and you'll see right here, as students post responses, that number will change. Now I have 2. So if I click on that, I'm going to see, okay, let me see. Well, was Nicole being silly? Did she put something appropriate? So I can kind of make that decision. If I'm okay with what they've put, I check it off and it puts it right up there for them. Students do not see the names of their classmates on their board. Only the teacher does. And as a teacher, if I chose to not approve and just let students put their comments up there and I didn't like what I saw, I could hit that delete button, that trash can, and it gets rid of it. Okay, this share button right here will let me email the board to myself or perhaps colleagues. I can also go ahead and share the link after the fact with my students if it's something I want them to refer to later on by using this copy button. I can sort the responses by student name, by time, or by how many likes if I wish on the board, depending on what I am doing with students. If I were to click this button here, what that means is it will show the names to all of my students. So that means that everybody in the class would be able to see that Nicole posted this. I like to leave that off just because it makes students feel a little bit better about their responses and encourages them to give their honest answers, even if they're not sure. So as I keep going, so here's a draw it activity that my students have. So what would happen is they would then do their drawing. So you can see you're waiting for Nicole's drawing right there. And once Nicole is all finished, you see she's started, and you can, there's a little bit of a delay, but you can eventually see what each student is drawing. So you could be helping somebody else and keeping an eye on what others are doing, and you know who needs a little bit more at that time. Once it's submitted, then that answer is kind of cemented right there in your report, and you'll be able to see those drawings. So here's an audio slide. And again, this is where you get to make a choice. So as a teacher, do I want all the devices to play this audio clip, or do I only want to play it from my device for all students to listen to? So sometimes you have some choices to go through. Okay, here's the virtual field trip. So students are going to see exactly what you're seeing, and they will be able to move it around as well, just like you can as the teacher. So that's what they will have. So when students have an open-ended answer or a multiple choice response, a quiz, this is what your screen will kind of look like as they type their answers and submit them. It's going to show up right here. So you'll see all your students' name, and then as they submit their answer, it's going to show up for you under the answer. You can wait until they're all finished, or if you see that somebody is taking a really long time, maybe you're just going to go ahead and come back to that question later with them and you can move on. Once you move your screen, it moves the screen on all your students' devices. If there are answers I want to share, I can click this share button. Again, student names are hidden from each other. So unless the students say, oh, that was my answer, they're not going to know who has said what. If I click share, what happens is it puts that answer up on the student's screen, and then I can unshare it, and it takes it off of the student's screen. So the slideshow, this looks very similar for students. You can just go back and forth. As you click, it does not change that student screen in a slideshow. So the students would need to change the slideshow on their own. So here's my fill in the blank. So as the students answer, I will start to see their scores. So if they got 6 out of 7, it'll say 6 out of 7. You'll see this Nicole got 1 out of 7. Okay, same premise. As they answer, you're going to start to see their scores as they're answering. Now, all of these things are available in the reports when you end your session. Okay, so you get the idea of what that teacher side is going to look like. If you decide, you know what, wow, all these kids got number 1 wrong, let me, have a little bit more discussion. Let me add an activity. I know there's a website I'd like them to go to. I'm going to click add activity. I'm going to add the website, or perhaps I want to add some other type of question for them. You can add an activity on the fly, which is really nice. And then when you're all finished, you're going to come up here and you're going to end the session. That way it ends this code, the ability to use this code, and people can't get back in. And then you'll be able to view the reports for the session you just had.